In my rabbinical school, which is 5 years long, we studied one book of Chumash, one book of the first 5 books of the Torah every year, which turns out to be this beautiful way of kind of mapping out a 5-year journey of learning, because you start with Bereshit, you start with Genesis, you start with the creation and beginning of everything. And you end with Dvarim, with Deuteronomy, which is almost entirely composed of Moses looking back on the journey that he and the people have made and retelling that story. And sometimes retelling it quite contradictorily to the way it was told the first time. And so the assignment that our teacher gave us was, look back on your previous 4 years of rabbinical school, and write a Deuteronomic account of your time in rabbinical school. And what she meant by that was the following. She wanted us to write an account that not only looked back and retold what was important to us about rabbinical school, but also Deuteronomy is where we get this whole idea of Vishinantam Levanecha, that you should teach these things to your children. And Deuteronomy has this huge focus on teaching and the things that we want to pass on. And so when I sat down to write this assignment, first of all, I realized that I needed to write it as a song. And second of all, I realized that this whole sense of the importance of carrying things with us in order to be able to teach them is, for me, a lot of what singing is about. It's about gathering what's important to me in a way that I can carry it in my own mind and in my own body, and then share it with others. And so out of that came a very strong memory of a teacher of mine when I was a little kid named Miriam, who was a very important person to me. It's nice that her name was Miriam as well, but that you should know that personally that's who she is. And you'll hear a little bit about my connection with her. So it's the song that says, "These are the words." It should be the second on your second column. No, the top one on your second column. And the way this works is that, well, I think you'll catch on pretty quickly. All right, here we go. You should feel free to join me. Oh, Miriam, at the kitchen table, in the cottage where you met with me on Tuesday afternoons, there were slices of apple, there were cups of tea, but the words that you gave me there are still feeding me. These are the words that decades on, these are the words that decades on, these are the words that decades on, these are the words that decades on are still feeding me. Beautiful. I'm going to pause right there, and I'm going to use the faithful tool of the folk singer and move into B flat. With one stroke of my capo. What is there we go. It's called a capo, and it just changed instant key change, just like that. Oh, that feels so much better already. So now you know how the structure works too. Here we go. Oh, Miriam, at the kitchen table, in the cottage where you met with me on Tuesday afternoons, there were slices of apple, there were cups of tea, but the words that you gave me there are still feeding me. These are the words that decades on, these are the words that decades on, these are the words that decades on, these are the words that decades on are still feeding me. Oh, Miriam, you said to make a recording, take if your throat starts to tighten up, well, you can just press play. These are the words that decades on. 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 You can just press play. Oh, Miriam, I am leaving home again, starting on another journey to another promised land, and I can't take you with me, and I can't stay behind, but the songs you unearthed in me will carry you in my mind. These are the words that decades on. These are the words that decades on. These are the words that decades on. These are the words that decades on will carry you in my mind. A vague memory, a flash of angels, or were they eagles hovering? And when you raise your voice to sing, you'll find the deeper truth that words themselves have wings. These words have wings, Miriam. At the kitchen table, in the cottage where you met with me on Tuesday afternoons, there were slices of apple, there were cups of tea, but the words that you gave me there are still feeding me. These are the words that decades on. These are the words that decades on. These are the words that decades on. These are the words that decades on are still feeding me.
What a voice, so beautiful.